Welcome to CandleLight Audiobook. The Secret Misses. Chapter 421. Luna took a deep breath, and within those few seconds, her expression and the atmosphere around her changed. She looked down and hung her head as she stood in front of Theo, not moving or saying a word at all. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. She counted down to 10 in her heart. Throughout this, Theo watched the girl's gloomy demeanor and did not have the heart to let her be this disappointed, but he still maintained his hardened expression and was determined not to be moved. In the next second, when Luna lifted her head again, her eyes were red and wet, with tears welling up, refusing to fall. At the same time, the girl's voice became coarse and she was vulnerable, unlike her usual self. She slowly walked over to the stony Theo and inched closer, before she pulled on his sleeves lightly with 2 fingers. "Theo, it's really impossible?" A sliver of warmth almost cracked through Theo's cold expression instantly, but his mouth was still tight and determined. "No can do, Luna, I can promise you anything, just not this." Immediately, Luna's tears started to fall all at once and she pleaded pitifully, "Theo, please, I really like this script. I guarantee that I will definitely look out for my own safety, okay?" Theo replied, "Okay." Luna was shocked. Okay? After all, it was the devil she was dealing with and she had already prepared herself for a series of sad dramatics. She had only just used 1% of what she prepared, and had not even used her seduction moves yet. It was okay now. She only had to use some novice skills to defeat the boss. There must have been a bug in the system. Luna was stunned for a while before she finally reacted and was so excited she almost jumped for joy. "Big boss. You agree? You really do?" Theo's expression stiffened as if he had just realized what he had agreed to. Then, he frowned and said helplessly, "Can I take it back?" Luna was anxious. "Of course not. A promise cannot be taken back once it's made. If you take it back, I'll cry until I pass out here." Theo sighed. "Okay, I won't take it back." Actually, the moment her tears fell, he already knew that. Why would he still struggle to allow her? In fact, he knew that she was probably faking it, but he still had no power to resist her at all. He could not help but clearly see his own rationality go to zilch. Luna's only regret that moment was that she could not run up to give Theo a super big kiss as she excitedly cheered, "Yay! Long live Big Boss. Big Boss, you're too nice. To have a leader like you was probably my good karma in my last life, no, my previously 10 lives. My respect for you is as high as the mountains and rivers." Theo smiled and helplessly stopped her. "Okay, no need to brown nose me now. For now, it's just me you've gotten through. If you fail at the audition later, I can't help you open up a back door, understood?" "Fail at the audition? No way. As long as you agree, then all's good. If I can get past the big boss, would I not be able to defeat the other little minions?" Luna was full of confidence. When he saw the girl in high spirits, every trickle of worry Theo's had vanished too. Fine, he could just ask the drama crew to watch her closely. She was never too green in the work she did anyway, so why should he hold her down in the name of love? Chapter 422. The next morning at Platinum Palace residence entrance. A black Mercedes Maybach appeared, with Alex and 4 bodyguards waiting outside the entrance. The tallest bodyguard, who looked honest and naive, could not help but ask Alex, "Assistant Alex, why does the boss want to go to America this time around? In fact, why is he going to such a chaotic place like Philadelphia for observation? Can't he delegate the task to someone else to go? Is that processing plant really so important?" When he thought about the objective for the visit, something flashed in Alex's eyes. Then, he shot the guy a look. "If you don't have a brain, then don't think about nonsense all day. Do you even have the capability to guess what the boss is thinking? Just follow the orders." The big guy scratched his head and felt that what Alex said made sense. "Oh, understood, thank you, Assistant Alex." As the both of them were talking, a skinny bodyguard in front of the car suddenly cursed under his breath, then walked to Alex impatiently. I can't. I can't hold it in anymore. I have to look for the boss and get him to take back his orders. Alex frowned as he looked at the youth who spoke up. What orders? The youth was called Bruce, and he had the best combat skills among the bodyguards, making him the highest status of them. One could say that he was one of the staff Theo trusted the most. If it was an order to him, then it must be something of utmost importance. Bruce had always followed all of Theo's orders, but what was it this time that actually made him want to disobey? Bruce lit a cigarette and continued, in the middle of the night yesterday, I suddenly received a phone call from the boss and thought it was something important. Who knew? He was telling me to go over to the drama team for a period of time and be in charge of a woman's safety. Pfft. I have had many near-death experiences and am specially trained for more than 10 years. How could all of that boil down to protecting some random woman? Bruce. Shut up, do you want to die? Alex looked at the door's direction nervously. If you let the boss hear you say this, be prepared to die. Bruce was unhappy with the unfairness of the situation and he expressed, I really don't understand. Apart from having a bit of beauty, I don't see what's so special about that woman that made the boss so charmed. Alex knew that these people were used to messing around with guns and knives, and intelligence wasn't their forte, so he could only be patient and explain, Bruce, listen to my word of advice, don't say these words ever again and just obey the orders. Bruce looked insulted and waved impatiently, I'm okay with other orders, but not this. I don't care. No matter what, I definitely won't protect some actress who only knows how to flirt around. By sheer coincidence, Theo slowly walked out of his residence, clad in black, just as Bruce made his declaration. Bruce immediately ran up and said, Boss, I have something I need to consult you about. Alex could not stop him in time, so he could only bury his face in his hands and wish the rookie the best of luck. Theo coldly shot him a look and said, Speak. In that instance, Theo's icy eyes made Bruce back off a little, but the insult he felt so deeply in his heart still made him blurt out, The order you made last night, there is no way I can obey it. Everyone broke into a cold sweat on behalf of Bruce. Just when they thought the boss was about to break into a fit of rage, Theo unexpectedly did not say anything. All he did was look at the big guy behind Bruce and said, Bruce, you'll replace Bruce. Brody was taken aback, but he just scratched his head and followed the orders, Yes, boss. Seeing that the issue had been resolved, Alex quickly walked over to open the car door for Theo. Once Theo got into the car, Alex patted the big bodyguard's shoulder and could not help but lament, Hey, fortune certainly shone on the fool. That Bruce, if one day he found out that the boss had given him a task as important as protecting the lady boss which he had rejected, he would regret to the point of puking blood. Chapter 423. At Fawa Temple. The other day after discussing with Matthew, Margaret set aside some time to go to the temple early one morning. The temple was known for being auspicious and it was filled with people early in the morning. Margaret lit up a joss stick then waited in the hall. Very soon, a monk came over with both palms pressed together to say, Amitba, and he greeted her, Donor Margaret, you're here. Margaret returned the courtesy then nervously said, Little master, I was wondering what Master Xian Jing had to say. The abbot has been waiting inside the hall. Donor Margaret, please follow me, the little monk replied. Ah, so Master Xian Jing agreed. Great. Thank you, thank you. Margaret held a stack of socialites' birth dates and followed the monk happily towards the meditation abode in the backyard. Inside the yard were grass and pebble paths, and at one end were red maple trees. Standing in the lotus pond in front of the place were several herons ruffling their feathers. When she looked at the peaceful and quiet little yard, she calmed down much more. When they reached the entrance of Xian Jing's meditation abode, the little monk stood still and announced solemnly, Abbot, Donor Margaret is here. After a moment, an old monk clad in a gray robe walked out with the help of a staff. His charisma and aura were extraordinary as if he was not from this world. Donor Margaret, this old monk is lacking in being welcoming. Master, you are being too kind. We've really troubled you this time to use your time with Buddha for such a petty thing. As she watched the old monk and felt his strong aura, Margaret instantly trusted him, thinking about how lucky she was to find Master Xian Jing. She had met Long Fanine once and thought that he was efficient the other time. Now that she had met Master Xian Jing, she realized that Long Fanine was too impetuous and hasty. "Donor Margaret, you speak too highly of me. This old monk is only giving due assistance. You and Donor Lu donate to the auspicious incense every year to repair the Buddha's gold body and aid the poor. That is true charity. Master, you compliment me too much. These are things we should do." After some more small talk, they started to get down to business. Margaret took out the stack of birth dates from her bag and put it on the short table. Then, she took out a single sheet of paper with Theo's date of birth and said, "Master, it's all here. I have to trouble you to skim through them." Xian Jing nodded and picked up the birth dates to start going through them. Margaret dared not interrupt, so she quietly stood aside and waited. Xian Jing looked at every one of them and made notations behind them. A moment later, he finally finished looking through all the birth dates. When she saw that Xian Jing's expression had not changed much from start until the end, Margaret was a little anxious. She questioned, "Master, among these girls, were there any birth dates that were especially good, or especially compatible with our Theo?" Master Xian Jing shook his head confidently and declared, "There are none." That meant that all these girls were all ordinary. Even though none of them particularly clashed in terms of compatibility, was there not even one compatible one? When Margaret heard this, she could not help but be a little disappointed. She unwillingly looked at the master's written remarks and realized that not only all of them were ordinary, there was indeed no one who was more outstanding than the rest. Margaret kept turning every piece of paper to look at the remarks many times, then finally accepted her son's fate and put the birth dates away. She absent-mindedly nodded, "I've troubled you, Master." "Donor Margaret, not to worry." "Then, Master, I won't disturb you further. I shall make a move now." Margaret was prepared to leave when her footsteps came to a halt. She suddenly thought about how there was still one more person's date of birth in her bag. It belonged to that girl named Luna. She did not know what she was thinking, but before she left, she had actually grabbed the girl's date of birth too. Now, should she just casually let the master have a look at it? Chapter 424. However, if Matthew had known that she brought the girl's date of birth for evaluation as well, he would definitely fly into a rage again. Margaret was in a dilemma. She took out the date of birth for a look and did not know what decision to make. When he saw that she did not look right, Xian Jing asked, "Donor Margaret, is there anything else unresolved?" Margaret returned to her senses and was flustered as she tried to put the sheet with the birth date back. However, she was still worried that Matthew would get angry if he knew, and she felt that there was no need to evaluate the girl, so she quickly said, Nothing. Master, you can go ahead and attend to your other things." Then, she turned around to walk away. In her rush, a brownish paper flew out of her bag and dropped onto the floor. Margaret had not noticed and was still walking away. Behind her, Xian Jing bent down to pick it up. "Donor Margaret, please hold on, you dropped something, eh?" As he said that, Xian Jing stared at the date of birth on the paper in clear shock as his words trailed off, "This birth chart." Margaret heard the master's voice behind and quickly turned around. She saw that the master held Ning Shi's birth date in his hand, and the astoundment on his face was apparent. Margaret saw this and her heart skipped a few beats. "Master, how about this birth date?" Different from the confidence he had displayed earlier from looking at the other birth dates, Xian Jing looked at Ning Shi's date of birth for a long time before saying, "Donor Margaret, could you let me please have your son's birth date for me to have a look again?" "Of course you can." Margaret said that as she took out Lu Theo's birth date quickly and handed it over to Xian Jing with both hands. At the same time, her heart was filled with worry. Xian Jing held the two's birth dates and laid them flat on the short table. Then, he started to evaluate them carefully. Margaret stood aside to wait nervously and she felt anxious. The master's expression was so serious. Could it be that this woman was a horrible jinx for Theo, and would cause harm to him? After a long time, Xian Jing finally said, "This birth chart has signs of loneliness, a robbed life with a series of unfortunate events. This person will inevitably jinx her son and kill her husband, and she is fated to be alone forever." Margaret turned pale at the sound of the reading. Isn't this the devil Lone Star? My God. Jinx her son and kill her husband, Theo, little treasure. Margaret was still deep in shock when Xian Jing suddenly asked, I wonder if you remember that many years ago, I helped your son examine a similar birth date. I remember, of course, I do. Margaret's face lingered with fear when she heard this. That year, the reading of Theo's birth chart was filled with terrible danger. Xian Jing continued, wherever dangerous fate lingers, it needs to be fought with danger. When the 5 elements are in danger, the Lone Star fate is formed. As the saying goes, it is hard to be all round and harmonize all 5 elements. Without danger, a long life and a roof over heads are guaranteed, but when elements of danger come together, the passing of the jinx on to the kin is inevitable and they will be fated to be alone till old age. Everyone knows that. But Master, after having little treasure 5 years ago, didn't you say our Theo's fate has had a breakthrough? Margaret asked anxiously. Xian Jing nodded. Indeed, 5 years ago, there were signs of a breakthrough. Then, what does Theo's birthday have to do with the devil Lone Star fate of this woman? Xian Jing looked at her mysteriously. This girl's birth chart, very coincidentally, is the same as your son's. It also suddenly started to change 5 years ago. Changed? Margaret panicked and could not help herself but urge him, Master, please don't beat around the bush anymore. What fate does this woman actually have? Will it jinx my Theo? Chapter 425. Margaret obviously prepared for the worst when she asked nervously, Master, do you have any way to resolve it? As long as you can resolve my son's bad fortune, I am willing to do anything. Xian Jing shook his head and consoled, Donor Margaret, you don't have to be too worried. Please listen to this old monk explain to you slowly. He was worried that Margaret could not understand him, so Xian Jing tried his best to use layman terms to break it down to her. From this diagram, this girl does have the fate of a devil Lone Star. However, Donor Margaret, if someone of this fate has a life blessed with longevity and enlightened kindred spirits, then they might have good fortune. Or they could practice Buddhism, do more charitable deeds to gain good karma, and really put in individual hard work, their fate could change too. Margaret dared not interrupt again. As anxious as she was, she could only be patient and listen quietly. Under Margaret's nervous watchful sight, Xian Jing finally concluded, if I did not read it wrongly, now, this girl has a fate of fame, prosperity and fortune and family happiness. Good fortune beyond comparison, a prospering husband, and a flourishing family, a future with many children and plenty of luck. When she heard Master Xian Jing announce the fate of the girl, Margaret was immediately so shocked that she almost could not believe her ears. Master, what did you just say? She was the devil Lone Star 1 second before, so how did she have good fortune beyond comparison, a prospering husband, and a flourishing family, a future with many children and plenty of luck, in the next? Xian Jing stroked his white beard and exclaimed, the rarest thing which happened is that the time that this girl's fate changed is too coincidental with your son's. I expect that in between, there must have been some sort of connection. Only, with the limited resources I have in this examination, I cannot come to such a conclusion. What I can conclude is that if this girl and your son tie the knot, they would definitely have lots of good fortune and no bad luck. Margaret stuttered, You mean, that not only is this girl's birth date not clashing with my son's, but it is, in fact, positively compatible? Indeed, that is so, Master Xian Jing nodded, and then reminded, there is no one path to the way the world works. Nothing is absolute, diagrams can only allow us to peek at a bit of things. For example, your son's fate had a sudden change 5 years ago. Thus, I hope that you will not take things too much to heart, and you cannot believe absolutely everything. Do still watch to see how things pan out. I understand now. Thank you for your guidance, Master. Margaret's expression was stiff as she took the 2 birth dates on the table and left. Until she had left the temple, Margaret was still in disbelief. She had chosen so many socialites, all of them from first-class backgrounds and with outstanding personalities, but in the end, it was Luna's birth date that stood out. Furthermore, from what the Master had said earlier, it was all good things. At the Goldberg family old residence. Matthew was sitting on the living room sofa reading the newspaper. When he saw Margaret return, he looked up to ask, "How did it go?" Margaret looked tired, and apart from Luna's date of birth, she handed everyone else's over to him. "The master has made remarks on each of them, you can see for yourself. Generally, even though none of them are particularly jinxes, none are compatible." Matthew looked like he had expected this and absent-mindedly looked at them. "As long as they are not jinxes, it's fine." As she watched Matthew look through the socialites' birth dates, Margaret wanted to say something but stopped herself several times. Should she tell him about Luna, or not? Despite what the master had said about Luna and Theo being a match made in heaven, the master had also said that nothing was absolute. Knowing Matthew's personality, if he had known that she had secretly examined Luna's birth date too, not only would he scold her but he probably would not believe it too. When Margaret thought about this, she made a decision in her heart. Never mind, it wouldn't be too late if she observed first before saying anything. Chapter 426. In the morning, the first thing Luna did after she woke up was to go to Glory World Entertainment to report the good news about the decision on the script to Stacy. Very coincidentally, Stacy had good news on her end too. Payroll time. Salaries out so soon? Luna said, pleasantly surprised. Because the live stream of you and Adam's game went so well last night, the gaming company was very satisfied and brought forward the payout date, Stacy explained. Luna exclaimed, overjoyed, "That's wonderful." There and then, she decided not to hit Adam anymore. "It should have been banked in already, check your account later," Stacy said. "Okay." Luna replied when she received a new message. Coincidentally, it was a message from the bank about the transfer of the salary. "Stacy, I've received it." Stacy laughed, "Excellent, it's a good thing you don't have work today. You should go out and relax." Eva used to be too cool for her own good. Especially after she became famous, she was so depressed that nothing could pique neither her interest nor passion. When she saw Luna's energetic demeanor, Stacy, who was tired of being in the entertainment circle for so many years, suddenly started to be moved. Luna nodded, "Thank you, Stacy. Thank you to the company." After she left, Luna returned to the apartment first. The first thing she did was dig out 2 bank account numbers, and inserted $100,000 into one, and $50,000 into the other. Very quickly, the phone rang. Luna happily picked it up. "Hello, Director Tao. Have you been well?" A senior woman replied from the other end, I'm good. We're all good over here." "Miss Luna, did you bank in money to the orphanage again?" Luna nodded, "Yeah, I got my salary." The voice on the other end of the phone was anxious, "But it is too much this time. $100,000. I know you love the kids, but you need to save some for yourself too." "Don't worry, Director, I still have a lot with me. I didn't donate it all. Just use it, it's going to be winter very soon. Buy some clothes and cotton blankets for the children." "Hey, I'll accept it then. I thank you on behalf of the kids. You should take care of yourself too, don't work too hard and be too tired now." "I know, thank you, Director." Luna's heart felt warm after she hung up. She had started donating to this orphanage since 5 years ago. It was too bad she did not have much savings previously, but now she could finally contribute more. The other $50,000 were banked into her foster parents' account. She still felt guilty that she had not returned home all these years. She did not bank in more because she knew that they definitely would not accept too much. She calculated that she had half of her spokesperson fee left, which was $150,000, just enough for her explore. From her financial management standpoint, she always prioritized giving back instead of her savings. Usually, when the money got into her hands, she would use it up really quickly, only leaving some for food. She incidentally looked at the calendar and noticed that it was going to be grandfather's birthday very soon. Never mind, she should buy the birthday present first and be patient for a little longer. The Brown family was wealthy after all, and although the old man was not very close to his granddaughter like other grandfathers, he still cared very much about her. Robert and Rebecca were embarrassed by her lack of etiquette and they blamed and detested her. Only her old grandfather would privately correct her mistakes one by one. Even though he was strict, he had her best interests at heart. After she had left home, her grandfather had tried to advise her to go home numerously, but sadly, she could not obey the old man's wishes. Chapter 427. At Imperial's busiest shopping center. After looking around, she decided to get some jade ornaments in the end. The old man was a Buddhist and liked jade, so it would only be appropriate to get him a bracelet made of jade beads. As the devil's biggest fan, and out of her unquestionable trust towards the boss, Luna did not even look around other shops and headed straight for Jade Treasury. As Luna walked in, a slightly chubby man with an old-school vest and small eyes came up to welcome her warmly. "Hi, pretty lady, what are you looking for?" Luna wore a casual outfit today, the kind no one would really pay attention to. It was only with a closer look that people might be drawn to her cute face. While the owner did not know who she was, experience told him that she was some celebrity, and it didn't hurt that she looked quite wealthy. Even if she was not that famous, she would probably buy something pricey, so he served her personally. Luna looked through the vast collection of jade ornaments displayed, and said, a little confused, "My grandfather is celebrating his 70th birthday and I want to buy him a bracelet with jade beads. Do you have any recommendation?" "Yes, of course." The owner quickly opened up the shelf and carefully took out a few bracelets. "What a good timing that you're here now. We've just received a new batch of the latest items. Have a look at the colors, they're all top-notch quality. They'll surely make you get into anyone's good books if you give it as a gift." Luna did not really know much about jade ornaments, but according to the shop owner, they would cost quite a fortune, so she asked hesitantly, "How much do each of them cost?" "The price is not exactly fixed, but they are around $1 to $2 million. Of course, they are better ones, so if you don't like these, I'll show you some others." The owner's eyes shone in glee. Seeing that the owner persisted on recommending her expensive jade ornaments, Luna smiled awkwardly at him. Did she look like she was rich? It's okay, do you have something cheaper?" Luna interrupted the owner's rattle of recommendations. "Cheaper?" The owner stopped for a bit and assessed Luna. He then kept all the bracelets, but still replied her with a smile on his face, "Sure, we have something cheaper. Take a look over here. The colors are a little bit off, but they are pretty good and the prices are reasonable too. Only around $700,000 to $800,000. I'll even throw in a discount so you can get them at $600,000. Luna pinched the area between her brows and went straight to the point, "Something even cheaper. Do you have anything within the range of $150,000? $150,000? The owner's smile collapsed after hearing that and even his tone changed. "Pretty lady, while $150,000 might seem a lot to you, at most, you can only fool those who aren't very well versed with jade ornaments. Such a small sum of money can't get you anything good. Plus, you're buying a gift for an elder, so you should invest more, especially for things like a jade bracelet. It's not something you should cut corners with." Luna smiled, "You're right, but the gift is more about the effort and the meaning, instead of the price. I'm giving my best, which means I've put all my heart into this gift." The owner sarcastically laughed, but of course, he hid his scoff behind a hand so as not to make it too obvious. He closed the shelf and told her, "Then, you can pick from this area. The items on this row here are all below $150,000. That row over there is cheaper, if..." Chapter 428. Hee, if you want something even cheaper, I suggest you go somewhere else. We at Jade Treasury don't deal with low-quality goods. The owner walked away upon finishing his sentence. $150,000 might be a big deal for other people, but what a joke. He was the owner of Jade Treasury, where many rich people frequented, and he could usually close deals up to a few million, so a $150,000 deal was not worth his time and personal service. The shops like these usually had heirs, but thankfully Luna was already prepared for such a situation. She did not really care and just focused on selecting the bracelet. Jade Treasury gave people assurance of quality, so even if it was cheap, it would still be a better product compared to buying from other shops. Suddenly, a familiar voice came through, "TSK, what a joke. Just admit that you're too poor to afford them." No need for the flowery words. You think the owner is a fool? Luna looked over and frowned. What a small world it was. The one who just spoke was Isabella in her Chanel outfit, and beside her was Millie in a long dress. As usual, there were a few other girls behind them, all artistes trying to get on her good side. Yo! Goddess Millie. What brings you here today? I was wondering why the birds kept on singing on my balcony today. I didn't expect them to be celebrating your arrival. The small-eyed owner quickly went up to them with a string of flattery. It was not just because of Millie's popularity, but more importantly, she had the most potential to become lady boss of the Goldberg Corporation. How could he afford any mistakes? This was especially when a rumor went around recently about how Theo really favored Millie, and even brought her into his office directly. This must not be far from the truth. Or so the owner thought. Goddess Millie, please come inside. Xiao Yu, quickly bring out the best items from the back. Xiao Chui, go and prepare some tea, and use the good Tai Guan Yin tea leaves I brought back the other day, the owner ordered them. All the workers got busy and tried to talk to Millie. Of course, everyone wanted to be in the good books of their future lady boss. No matter how cool Millie was, she smiled at the owner's tactic to butter up to her. You don't have to do so much for me, I'm just looking around. The owner quickly replied, Mississippi Millie, it's my honor to be able to serve you, it's really nothing much. Isabella triumphantly looked at the lonely Luna whom no one served, and she grinned at the owner. Boss, you must have lathered a lot of honey on your mouth, how sweet your words are. Mississippi Isabel, everything I say comes from my heart. As he spoke, he brought over the items the worker had taken out and carefully displayed them in front of Millie. Millie casually picked up a dazzling jade bracelet. New items? I don't remember seeing this the last time I came here. You have sharp eyes, Mississippi Millie. Indeed, a new batch of goods have just arrived, and all of them are the best quality. Of course, they are still not worthy of your identity. But if you don't mind, simply pick some. The owner rubbed his hands in anticipation of his bright future ahead of him. Isabella ran her fingers across the jade jewelry excitedly. Cousin, these jade ornaments look really great. No wonder you like them so much. Only jade can match your extraordinary aura. She's right, gold and silver are too tacky. The other artistes went along in agreement, and they shifted their focus to the high-grade jade ornaments placed in front of Millie. One of them complained, Boss, you've never shown us these goods before when we were here. Boss, how biased of you. You can't blame him. After all, good jade is only worthy of a beautiful person. Only Millie can pair well with these jades, so let's not embarrass ourselves here. Listening to all the flattery, Millie smiled with pride. She seemed to like the jade bracelet and played with it. Suddenly, Isabella thought of something and she stared at Luna, then drawled to the owner, Boss. You're not handling things very well here, are you? The shop owner was anxious. What is it? Is there something that I'm doing wrong? Please let me know, Ms. Isabella. I'll work on it right away. Isabella looked straight at Luna. It's not about your service. In fact, you are serving us so well that everyone is around here, and no one's looking out for the shop. Who knows if some poor person will take this chance to steal your jade, then you might suffer a big loss. The owner instinctively looked at Luna upon hearing this. Aside from Millie's bunch in the shop, there was only Luna who was still selecting her jade-beaded bracelet. At first, he thought that this woman could help him close a big deal, but who knew she was so stingy? The owner nodded seriously, Ms. Isabella, you are right. He then ordered his worker, Jessica, go and attend to her. Huh? Me? Jessica pointed at her nose in surprise. Yes, you, what are you waiting for? Go. If something goes missing, it's your head on the chopping board. Yes, boss. Jessica unwillingly went to the counter in front of Luna. As she saw Luna was focused on examining a bracelet, Jessica tried to hide her impatience politely. Miss, you've been looking for quite some time now. Have you made your decision already? Everyone else was with the lady boss and only she was sent over. How could she not be impatient? She was just hoping that this woman would quickly wrap up her purchase and leave. Luna was carefully looking at the jade beaded bracelet in her hands and did not notice the worker's impatient expression, and she then asked, "Does this bracelet have any particular meaning behind it?" Luna thought that when she gave this to her grandfather, she could say something auspicious to go with it. Hearing Luna's question, Isabella let out an exaggerated and sarcastic laugh. "Huh? What meaning can cheap jade possibly have? Just simply buy any one." What a bumpkin, still trying to figure out meaning of this and that. The artistes echoed, "This is what happens when a poor person tries to act big." Isabella continued, "I was right. This woman actually embarrasses herself outside in public as well. TSK, I really don't want to admit that we're working in the same company. Second Master's taste used to be good. The people who he hired were all great candidates, but it seems like he missed this time. What's funny is that people are comparing her to Millie. This woman isn't even worthy to hold shoes for Millie." Chapter 430. At the same time, at a shop selling luxurious items opposite Jade Treasury. Master Jake, do you still want this shirt?" the shop owner asked carefully. The man who he was asking looked ruggedly handsome, dressed in a casual outfit. He had one hand in the pocket as he looked over to see the commotion in the opposite shop. "Aside from the few that I picked out, get me anything else you think fits." "All right. Master Jake, I'll get you the invoice now." "Shall I send it to your address as usual?" the owner asked happily. Send it." Jake replied him half-heartedly and continued looking into Jade Treasury. He then took out his phone to make a call. "Yes," answered the other end of the line in his usual cold tone. "Hey, Theo, I heard that you went to Philadelphia for work. Why are you going to such an uninteresting place? Why not join the gang and have fun by the ocean?" The line went dead. The person had actually hung up on him. Damn. Jake looked at his phone in disbelief. Damn it. How dare he hang up on me? Jake called again, and he started scolding the moment the line got through. "Screw you, Theo. Does it really take so much effort to talk to me? You just hung up on me right away. Perhaps you want to get cut off the second time," the voice over the phone questioned seriously. If he continued spouting crap, he would really get cut off again. Jake clenched his teeth and looking at the few women opposite, he angrily said, "Damn it. I was trying to be nice to inform you that some crazy dogs are biting your woman. Yet, you treat me this way. Where is your conscience?" There was a pause for a while, then one word was uttered, "Who?" Jake proudly told him, "You think that I wouldn't know if you hid it from me? Isn't it the popular celebrity? What was she called again? Oh right, Luna. Last night, I accidentally clicked into a hot streaming site, and guess what I saw? I freaking saw that celebrity streaming a live game from your study room. I tell you, Theo's cold hard voice interrupted him. "Please get to the specifics." "Yo. It's really her. You actually said 5 words." "Jake," the voice threatened with a growl. Jake knew that something was not right. He guessed that he was probably handling some emergency situation on the other end, so he stopped fooling around and said, "Venue, your jade ornament shop Jade Treasury. People, your real lover Luna, and your rumored girlfriend Millie together with her bunch. Is it clear enough? Need more specifics?" The phone call was cut off again. Jake mumbled, "Damn it. What an ungrateful person." The shop owner came over, beaming, "Master Jake, the shirts have all been packed." Jake nodded but did not leave right away. Instead, he ordered, "Get me a chair right now." A chair?" asked the shop owner in confusion. "What? Quickly. You've got a great view here. Do you have any objections about me sitting here to enjoy the view?" "No. I'll go and get you one. Right now." The shop owner wiped some sweat from his brow and quickly went to get a chair. These rich people do spend a lot, but they sure were not easy to serve.